Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 1 Minute Breakdowns. This week we're going to be breaking down UFC Vegas 71. Piotr Yan going up against Marab Dvalishvili. This is going to be a banger of a fight. First and foremost, if you guys haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe on the video, support your boy. We're finally over that 200 subscriber mark, so on the road to 1,000, hopefully soon. Let's shout out the chat. We got Mark in the chat. Thank you, Mark, for showing up. Yeah, this is a banger card. For a fight night card, this is one of the better ones. So I think we have I would consider 3 main events on this on this card itself. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing started. First fight, we had a rebooking, which I believe it was yesterday. Carlson Harris going up against Jared Gooden. I predominantly think this fight is going to be in the striking realm. I don't think any of the fighters are going to be shooting for takedowns. I think there's going to be a lot of cage control wars, and I do expect Carlson Harris here to be the cleaner striker, more powerful striker. Jared Gooden, this is his first fight back in the UFC after getting dropped. He had 2 wins on the regional scene, and then the UFC called him up on short notice for Carlson Harris, who originally was supposed to face Abubakar Nurmagomedov. So I think Carlson Harris here is the much better striker, much more powerful striker, and he does have that jiu-jitsu background as well. So I think Harris inside the distance is probably going to be my prediction here, and I'm looking to bet Harris as well, just depending on the number. Just have to wait and see. Let's see, next fight. Next fight, we have Tyson Nam going up against Bruno Silva. The return of Bruno Silva, it's been 1 year and 8 months, so almost 2 years since his last fight, versus Tyson Nam. He's been in the octagon 6 months ago against Ode Osborne. We all know how Tyson Nam fights. He is getting up there in age. He has some power in the hands, but I think Bruno Silva is going to be a little bit too much for him. He's a lot faster than Tyson Nam, better grappler than Tyson Nam, and then for me, Tyson Nam's game is just straight up a one punch hitter quitter. That's it. If that doesn't work, then oh man, I don't know what to say here. I think Tyson's probably gonna get the L. I think Bruno Silva is gonna be able to win this fight via decision with the grappling. He is the much faster striker as well. So give me Bruno Silva here. Checking the chat. Shout out to Finn. Appreciate the support, my brother. And then Mark, I don't know what the line is for that fight yet, so I'm waiting. Me and you are in the same boat here. Next up, we have a fight that I can't really talk about too much because I'm involved in the camp. Victor Henry going up against Tony Gravely. Obviously, I was in the camp for Victor Henry's fight this week, so I can't really speak too much on it. I'll just give a very high-level breakdown here. Tony Gravely is the better grappler. Victor Henry is a better striker. If Victor Henry can keep this on the feet, he wins. If Tony Gravely finds success with the grappling and does not expend his cardio, Tony Gravely will probably get the win. But we have seen Tony Gravely get gassed out pretty often in these fights, and Victor Henry pushes a mad pace. So that's as much as I can give out here. I'm rooting for my boy Victor Henry, for my guy. So yeah, I wish I could give you a better breakdown than that, but unfortunately, I was involved. Or fortunately for me, I was involved in the camp. Next up, we have JJ Aldrich going up against Ariane Lipsky. JJ Aldrich being the fighter that I think is a very wide favorite here. I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve to be the favorite because I do think she wins this fight, but you know what? Both of these fighters have shown to be unreliable at points. And Ariane Lipsky, yeah, she does have that power. I'm sorry, guys. My Discord is going crazy. Ariane Lipsky, we know her to have that power in her hands. JJ Aldrich can put on the volume on the feet as well. She can go for her own takedowns, manages range as like really well. Ariane Lipsky really, she focuses to get that one like big punch to hurt her opponents. And I don't think it's going to work here against JJ Aldrich because I think JJ Aldrich has some decent durability on the feet. Now, on the ground, if Ariane Lipsky can get this fight to the ground, it would be a much more advantageous position for her. But I haven't seen her really show anything significant when it comes to wrestling and ground game. So for all these reasons, I'm going to go with JJ Aldrich. Next up, we have Mario Bautista going up against Guido Canetti. So I'm going to keep this one very short. Obviously, the line is minus 1,085 right now for Mario Bautista. Reasons being, like, Guido Canetti is 43 years old, Mario Bautista 29. Bautista is an absolute phenom. Uh, on the feet, grappling, wrestling, he can get it all done. Guido Canetti, though, has shown to be very tough in the past, but I worry that the age is going to catch up to him. And this is not going to surprise anyone. Mario Bautista, inside the distance, probably. I think maybe in round one, probably get the submission victory here. Uh, so let's go ahead and move on to something that's a little bit more interesting. Next up, we have Cedric Dumas against Josh Fremd. Dumas. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna say Dumas. Dumas making his debut after his Contender Series win with that highable guillotine. Josh Fremd, obviously, 2-fight losing streak. We did bet on him in his last fight, unfortunately, where he got that freak guillotine against him from Treshangor, and that was ridiculous. Now, on the feet, I think Dumas is the better striker here, more power, and I think if Dumas can mix in the wrestling early and get to advantageous positions on the ground, the long limbs are going to help him here. He has a 3-inch height, 3-inch reach advantage, and then he's at a disadvantage of 2 inches in the height department. But yeah, you hear this guy speak in his interviews, and he really wants this. He's been working all his life for this thing. He's been growing up with in the street fighting realm, and yeah, it's one of these Trevor Peak stories, I would say. I think Dumas is going to be able to knock Josh Fremd out. Josh Fremd does not defend his head that much. I don't like his striking defense. And I do have a bet on Cedric Dumas, and I think he'll probably get it done in round 2. So personally, this is a very telling fight on both of these guys' careers because Josh Fremd also needs this win, or else 3-fight skid, probably his job is going to be on the line. We'll see though. Not a super passionate breakdown, but I do think Dumas gets the win. Next up, we have Rafael Assunção going up against Davy Grant. We all know Davy Grant hits really hard, and he's really accurate when he strikes. But he's going up against Assunção, who in his last fight really did well against Victor Henry. Really hypnotized him in a sense to play his own game and took him away from his own game plan. Assunção, you just never know with this guy. Is he gonna be like the old Assunção, where he's being manipulative of the game plan, where he's very deceptive in the striking, where he leads you into overthrowing like he did in the Henry fight? That's going to be something that plays right into the game plan here because Davy Grant overswings at times, and he does swing for the fences. But I think if one of those punches connects, I think Rafael Assunção is going to sleep. So it's a very volatile matchup here. I'm passing, but my prediction is probably going to be Davy Grant by knockout in round 1. Next up, we have Carl Williams going up against Lucas Brezeski. Carl Williams making his UFC debut after the win on the Contender Series against Jimmy Lawson. Brezeski had a no contest on the Contender Series. Sorry, blanked out there. And then he lost against Martin Budai via split decision in that fight. Now, the way I see this one going down is Carl Williams exploiting the holes in Brezeski's takedown defense and just wrestling his way into a decision. I think Carl Williams is a very good wrestler. And if you've seen his fights in the PFL, I mean, you saw the fight against Miles Amos, the top pressure is ridiculous. And the wrestling, the attempts are very accurate. It doesn't take him many attempts to get you down. And I think Lucas Brezeski's grappling is just for really bad. I got Carl Williams at a minus 145 line earlier on last week. So I'm pretty happy with that. He's a minus 230 favorite right now. And I max bet him. So I'm really passionate about this take. I think Carl Williams is going to be able to drown this guy and zap the cardio out of him. So give me Carl Williams by decision. Next up, we have the pleasure man, Anton Turklich, going up against Vitor Petrino. I think this fight's a very binary matchup. If Vitor can land that knockout blow in the first round, then he probably wins this fight. Otherwise, I think Turklich will win via drowning and grappling over the next 2 rounds because we've seen Vitor Petrino. The guy is huge, like he is super muscular, and that does tend to hurt the gas tank and slows you down because all of the lactic acid when it builds up over the fight, you will slow down. And if you can't, like I said, if you can't get that knockout in round one, I think Anton is going to be able to wrestle him and possibly get the sub. If not, he'll get the decision win. So maybe a possible live spot after round one to bet on Anton, as long as it's a nice plus money number. So that's my take here. I think Anton is the side. I think he's more likely to get the win. But is this a fight that I'm really passionate about? Probably not. The under is something that's been popular on Twitter. I'm not a big fan of it because I do think Anton could win just a boring decision just by grappling, but we'll see. Next up, we have a really fun fight: Said Nurmagomedov going up against Jonathan Martinez. Nurmagomedov in his last fight against Said Yakub Romanov struggled a lot in the striking, and he was getting taken down left and right, but ended up getting a submission win himself. That was very telling, and you don't want to do that against Jonathan Martinez because we've seen Martinez. He's a ridiculous leg kicker and super accurate on the feet. And when you're giving me this dog number on like plus 200, it's very tempting. I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Martinez is a very good striker. As I said, he's very accurate. He does have some power. The volume is there, and he has the gas tank. I've been looking forward to him taking a step up in competition for quite some time. So this is going to be a fight where it's going to give me a lot of information for the future of Jonathan Martinez, for the future of Said Nurmagomedov, because I think this is his first fight where he's actually facing someone that's really legit, like who I think is a top 5 in the future. So for me, I'm leaning towards the Jonathan Martinez side. I think he's the better striker. I think he's going to be able to manage the distance well and defend against takedowns. And I think he can utilize a lot of the holes that are in Said's game plan, which is the spinning attacks. Even though Said Nurmagomedov has some of the best spinning attacks, you don't really want to do that against a really good and smart striker like Jonathan Martinez. So give me Jonathan Martinez here. I haven't bet it yet, but I'm looking to enter a position closer to Saturday when everyone parlays up Nurmagomedov because of the name. Next up, we have Ricardo Ramos going up against Austin Lingo. Austin Lingo is one of those fighters that really has a good game plan at times. Very explosive. He can strike with the best of them at times too, but he seems to like fall off a cliff and deviate from the original game plan after a round. Fight IQ is questionable. He has some power in his hands, but the thing is, Ricardo Ramos, I think this guy has a future in the top 15, top 10 of this division, of the featherweight division. Really solid striking, really solid spinning attacks. He has those elbows, which he got that knockout with in his last fight. That was ridiculous. That spinning elbow, it's nasty. And then he also has the grappling to pair it with. So I think Ricardo Ramos is going to be looking to get to the grappling early and often here to zap the cardio of Austin Lingo and then take over in that second and third round and possibly get a finish via submission. So I think Ricardo Ramos is the side here. I already have him parlayed up with Duplessis from last week, so I just have that as my last leg. Other than that, I have no other positions on this fight. But give me Austin Lingo. Sorry, give me Ricardo Ramos for the win. Next up, we have this fight that was rebooked, and it's a catch weight now. It's no longer light heavyweight. It's a catch weight fight, 215. We have Nikita Krylov going up against Ryan Spann. Here's the thing. You got to think of it in an aspect. Like originally, my breakdown was I think Krylov was going to get the win, but Spann was a side at the money line price around plus 160. And then I'm looking at it here, 215. Who's the bigger guy? So the bigger guy is Ryan Spann. You have the 2-inch height advantage and then the 4-inch reach advantage. The bigger guy getting an extra 10 pounds probably favors him, I would say. But the constant thought that runs through my head is, does he have the IQ? Has he grown up? Has he matured since that fight? And what happened with Krylov is the reason he pulled out was food poisoning. Now, when you get rid of the symptoms of food poisoning, those next 2 weeks, you feel great physically. Your body feels fresh. Your blood work, if you do blood work after you have food poisoning, it's like you're a freaking tremendous triathlon with some of the cleanest blood. So your body feels really nice after that food poisoning. Um, I wonder if that's gonna play into effect here. I know that's some gibberish. It's just Scientology like going through my brain right now that I just yapped out. But I think Krylov is able to get the finish here against Ryan Spann. I think Spann is able to get the finish against Krylov. I'm not playing any of the money line sides, to be quite frank. I want to see what they price the under 1.5. That's the only thing that I would do. Under 1.5 is something I will target on Prize Picks as well because they have the under 7.5 minutes. But that's my prediction for this fight. I think Krylov gets it done inside the distance. Co-main event, we have Alexander Romanov going up against Alexander Volkov. Very binary matchup here. You see the height and reach advantage for Volkov here, 5-inch height advantage and then a 5-inch reach advantage. Volkov is predominantly a striker, and Romanov predominantly a wrestler and grappler. And when Romanov is on top of you, he tends to finish the fight. So he would want to do this early because Romanov's gas tank we saw against Tybura, he got exposed there. Doesn't have the best gas tank at all, which it was his first fight that he got pushed in. So I think Romanov, if he gets him down early in round one, he could be able to get the finish. So Romanov round one is a bet that I'm looking at this week. And then Volkov late rounds, probably like round 3 KO is another one that I'm looking at. So I can play this fight on both sides, that don't not risk a lot of money and be happy with either outcome. Just because this fight's very binary. At the line right now, Romanov is around minus 160, 170. I wish I would have got him at 115. I literally said it last week, but I slept on it. I slept on it because the scenes of him in round 2 and round 3 against Tybura scared me away there. So I'm just gonna stick to the round 1 poke on Romanov and then the round 2, round 3 pokes on Volkov here. You can even do the round 2 poke on Romanov too, just in case his cardio does look good. So round 2 props for both, round 1 prop for Romanov, round 3 prop for Volkov. I know it's a lot of bets, but trying to make money somehow here. But I do think Romanov does end up getting him out. And last but not least, main event of the evening, we have Petr Yan going up against Merab Dvalishvili. Petr Yan is around minus 260 favorite at the moment, and I think for good reason. We've seen Dvalishvili. We know his game plan. He goes for takedowns endlessly. He went 0 for 22 against Aldo, which, hey, that gas tank held up, and you can't complain. He still held him up against the cage and got the control time, got the dirty boxing strikes in, and won via decision. Petr Yan, though, has some of the best takedown defense in the division at 90%. And the issue for me here is if he does get taken down, he usually tends to give up his back. He's not the best defensively on the ground, but he does really well defending the takedowns. Because we saw when he fought Aljamain Sterling, he was just backpacked for the whole round in that second round, and he just looked like a fish out of water in a sense. Now, does Dvalishvili really have the same type of jiu-jitsu as Aljo? No, Aljo, there's a reason why his nickname is the backpack. He's really good at holding that position and getting finishes from there. But yeah, I think on the striking, Petr Yan just wipes this dude to the floor. Marlon Moraes knocked him down a couple of times in their fight in that first round. Really hurt him, almost had him out of there. But luckily not, because we had a bet on Dvalishvili inside the distance. I think Petr Yan can do the same. I think he can drop him. I think he can really hurt this guy. And I do predict Petr Yan to win via knockout here in the later rounds after he downloads that information like he does in the first round. He tends to lose the first round because he's like very patient. He downloads that info. He looks to see for tendencies and what the opponent does on certain strikes and certain, whether it's takedown attempts or moves to be specific. And then he tries to exploit it. So I think Yan will probably lose that first round as he always does. and then we'll see what he does from there on out. If he can keep this fight on the feet, he will cruise. But if he does get taken down over and over again, it's not going to be the most entertaining fight for the fans, because I think Dvalishvili is more of a position grappler. He'll hold a position, he'll land some ground and pound, but not really any submission attempts. But yeah, guys, that's the last fight, and that's the end of the video. Once again, I do appreciate your support. Thank you for getting me over 200 subscribers. It means the world. I hope you guys enjoy these breakdowns. I hope you made money with us last week, because last week was a career week. We went up over 25 units on regular bets, prize picks, and underdog fantasy. So if you haven't checked out that content for underdog fantasy and prize picks, just keep a lookout throughout the week. I already have a collab with Key 3 Picks up on the on Twitter. So if you wanted to tail us again, we hit last week. It was Duplessis fantasy score over, and over 2.5 takedowns for Tabitha Ritchie, which she got that in the first round. But yeah, until next week, guys. See ya.